Hey guys, it's Penelope in London, and we're looking at the Leo full moon, which happened a couple of hours ago now. And we're just going to run through, I'm going to look at this chart briefly. I'm going to show you with my pointer. Right, we got here. We have the sun, 27 degrees, 59 of Aquarius, sun here. That's 27:59. And then we have the moon opposite. And then we've got up here, we have Saturn. Sorry, forgive me. We have Capricorn. We have Venus, and we have Mars, and we have Pluto, all in Capricorn. We have Mercury in Aquarius, and we also have Saturn, and we also have the sun in Aquarius. We've got Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, Chiron in Aries, and we've got Uranus in Taurus, and we've got here the North Node entered into Taurus a few weeks ago now, and the South Node is in Scorpio. And then we've got the moon here in Leo. So let's look at the moon, and I'm just gonna give you some keywords for what this means for us. We have creative self-actualization, which is really important. And it's the ruler. It can be the king or the queen. In archetypal understanding, it's where we can have subjective awareness. It's the artist, it's inflation. It can be positive and negative in that respect. It's about involvement, approval. It's drama, arts, power, and drama. And also where we integrate, creativity needs integration also. Purpose, it's where we can be full of ourselves. It can be to do with applause, where we are in exhibitionists, approval, because we want people to like us if we're creative, our creativity. And it can also be to do with fame and being noticed and special recognition. It's also where we can be a risk taker. And it can also be to do with children and the inner child. And there's a lot more on this, but that's a brief understanding of the archetype. So the thing is, if you look at this, you can see this big square going on here. And we've got the sun is square to the node. The sun is square to the node and the north node, and the sun is square to the south node. And the moon is also square here, you can see. So when we look at the sun, which is in aspect to the North Node, what we're looking at in an evolutionary astrology understanding, we're basically looking at where it's equal to circumstances in the soul's prior lives that have not been successfully dealt with. So we could look as an understanding that as a collective, the collective and the collective unconscious, that we're dealing with some heavy stuff right now. We can look at what's going on in Canada as an example. And we do know that in order for our souls to make the correct life choices, that we have to do certain things. So we want to go forward with the Taurian energy and on that North Node. And also with the sun in Aquarius, it's, we've got individuation going on up there, and it's about the group and the purpose of the group as well, what we want for the group. So when we see what's going on, again, if we take Canada as an example, the group has got together, and we can see that in Aquarius, we want individuation. I've seen lots of videos coming out of there where we want our individuation, and we want our freedom as well. And we have our hopes, dreams, and wishes of the collective. And with Pluto, we've got, this would be in Capricorn. Capricorn is to do with government. It's to do with the mask, not the mask that we've been having to wear on and off for the last 2 years, but the mask that we showed, or that we put on when we face the world. So with Venus, we've got our inner needs, and then Mars, we have our direction. So we can see the connection going here, that we've also got this beautiful trine going on. I'll explain some of the aspects in a moment to you when I go over to solar fire. And then I'll also show you my own chart, so you can basically understand what you're looking for when you look at your own chart, what the moon and the sun do when we have a full moon or a new moon, but this is a full moon. So we do know that this is quite powerful. It's quite karmic, this sun hitting the north node and the south node. And basically, in planets that are square to the nodes generally are called skipped steps in evolutionary astrology, but the sun isn't known to be a skipped step. It's where the soul chooses to make the choices to deal with those pre-existing issues in the current life. It's the final straw. So if you look at evolutionary astrology texts, you'll understand that the sun square to the node is to do with the final straw, which allows for a resolution of those issues that have been taking place. So we're looking for resolution to what's been going on. Saying that, we do have Saturn square to Uranus again later this year. It's moving off at the moment. It's still in orb, but that Saturn and Uranus are meeting again later this year in September. It's going to be a square again. The other thing is it's the soul creating the potential for skip steps if we do not deal with what's going on. But we also want to look at the house that it's in. So you would be looking at your own chart, the house that it's in, and the sign that the nodal axis is in, and the planetary rulers. So that can be a bit confusing if you haven't looked at astrology before, to get your head around that. That you would look at the sun, you would look at the rulers of the node. So the ruler of this node is, the ruler of this node is, we got Taurus, and then we would go to Venus. The ruler of Taurus is Venus, and then we've also got, with the south node, the ruler is Pluto. So it's heavily connected in there as well. We've also got the node square. I'll give you something else on this. We can have the node square the sun, is where we can have frequent conflicts and tension among the demands of the sun and the tasks of the lunar node. And we're waiting to be realized. So many people are waiting for freedom, and that's what we're waiting to be realized. So there's a bit of a tug going on because governments around the world have got other ideas, in some cases healthy for us, and in some cases against us, or we could maybe look at it that way or feel that way, that we can't move in the direction we want. It depends where we are geographically and how we live in our lives as well, what we want for ourselves. Sometimes the more we know, ignorance is bliss, as it said. I've just read the book, The Real Anthony Fauci, or listened to it rather on Audible. It's a 27-hour book, and I've got about 4.5 hours left. I'll finish it probably in the next couple of days, and it's really telling on what's been taking place and understanding the pharmaceutical business as well, and such like. Really fascinating. I really highly recommend it if you're looking to understand what, the history of and what that means for us. But the sun square to that node is also, the life path is not clear, so there's a bit of lacking in clarity, and we can feel indecisive and chaotic and have restraints. So we've got some restraint going on. But with the north node, we want to be following this path, north node in Taurus, and I'll explain what that means to you. With north node in Taurus is where we are basically, it brings conflict between keeping everything, like everything that we have on one hand, and wanting to leave everything outdated, unnecessary behind on the other. So it's where we need to learn to trust, big word there. We do need to learn to trust, and also to accept the need for proximity and confidentiality, and also physical contact. It's where we need to recognize our own value. So we do need to recognize our own value. I would also add in that with that moon in Leo, we would be looking at that as well, our own talents as well, really recognizing and really deciding what we like, because we want to be doing what we like in work and in our relationships, and not doing what we like in like doing what we want. But clearly we work together as human beings, but we want to basically shine as well. and a full moon is a culmination of energy. And it's also where we want, with the Taurus node, it's where we should develop everything that that's to do with security. So it's about our material security, our inner security, and our self-confidence. And we should be aware of abusing our power or our sexuality, because we've got that South Node in the sign of Scorpio. What I'm going to do now is just go to a new share and show you my chart here. Let's see here. Make sure I'm sharing it. Okay, so this is my chart, and what you can see is that I've got a nodal return. You can see the nodes there. It's at 27 degrees, and my node is in Taurus at 25 degrees. And I've also got, you can see here. And the other thing that's going on for me, I've got that moon in my 9th house up here. And then I've got my sun in my 3rd house down here in Aquarius. You can see that it's not my sun, but the collective sun. That's where it is right now. My sun is actually 0 degrees of Gemini here. You can see that. And my moon is 17 degrees of Gemini also. So it gets rather deep when you start looking at this sort of work here. If I scroll down, this is beautiful. If you go into Astroseek, you can basically dig in deeper. I've got the moon is in conjunct, it's called quincunx, but in conjunct to Saturn. And then the moon is quintile, which is quite beautiful energy to my moon. So the moon, if you look up here, it would have been earlier 29 degrees, is in a quintile, which is a 72 degree apart. And then if you go down again, got the moon square my sun. So the moon was squaring my sun, and then the sun was semi-sextile Saturn, it still is, and then the sun is square the sun. And if you go down further, so you can play with this, just go to Astroseek and put in your name, or not your name, you can, if I think you have to, but your date and place and time of birth. And then I've got the moon was square to the South Node, so I had some squares with that moon going to my ascendant and to my node. And then the sun is quintile to Para Fortune, which is quite beautiful. And then again, square to the sun square, the South Node, the ascendant, and the North Node as well. You can see that. So now, new share to Solar Fire. There you go. I'm going to emanate. I need to come out of this here. Let's see, come out of my pointer. Okay, emanate, and make sure I'm sharing. Okay, so we can see that this is at 21:59, so we want to take that back by hours. Hours, 1, 2, 3. There you go, nearly there. Minutes. What we want is the sun at 27:59 and the moon at 27:59. So forward. There you go. So 27:59, you can see that in degrees. Then what we have is that let's have a look. So that Taurus North Node, really important when we look here, it's a time for reflecting upon and meeting our inner needs. So for the next year and a half, we are reflecting upon to meet our own inner needs and get resourceful with that. And it's about self-reliance. We're learning self-reliance, because what we've seen go on, when you consider that in Canada, you know, they have their funding, truckers had their funding stopped, and I heard, and then also the other thing that happened, the government decided that they were going to block the accounts of people as well that were protesting. So you can see that's one way where people definitely need to understand that they need to be self-reliant, and they also need to understand money as well, which Taurus is about, and it's about our inner needs. So we've got food, we've got land, we've got our inner security as well, our security. And the South Node in Scorpio shows us where we have resistance to fulfilling the collective and soul intention. So we don't want to resist. We We want to move away from being fixated upon the past, which is very difficult because there's been a lot of changes, but that's something we've got to really look at. Any fixations can prevent our soul from actualizing our current life and collective intentions. So that sun in the full moon is asking us, the full moon is asking us to self-actualize and really look at our intentions and be open-hearted. And we need to resolve what has gone on before us so we can live fully. And this is really important for all of us, and not just some of us, but for all of us as a collective. I think there's something else there. The node is also, there's some beautiful aspects to this chart, actually. I'm going to go through them briefly, and then I'll be done with this. But if you want a chart reading, you can book me and just send me a message below, or find me on Facebook also. I've not been posting the last few days. I sort of given up a little bit with Facebook because I had a restriction for posting a video that they said was misinformation. So how much can we really say on social media? That's the other thing. It's a big thing. A lot of people that have been through trauma have been shut down in their past, that began to open up and speak up, you know, very much have been shut down. People have been shut down. They're not allowed to really say what they want to say. We're having to choose our subjects so we can keep our social media alive. So the sun is opposition the moon. We know the sun is sextile to Pluto, and this can create where we're stubborn and decisive. So you see the sun is sextile to Pluto. They're both at 27 degrees. Get my pointer again so you can see it clearly. Spotlight. All right, so see there, the sun 27 degrees and the Pluto 27 degrees. We got Mercury conjunct Pluto, and this is uncovering stuff. This is about the subconscious. It's where we're thinking, our thinking process interweave with each other. And although we can be quick, but when it's just, you know, we can lack inconsistency. And also it's where we can not feel very flexible and also think that we're infallible. Now, maybe not the people, maybe governments as an example could think they're infallible, you know, but the collective as well. Some people in the collective will think that too. And this conjunction is a desire not to leave anything unexplained. So we really are looking deeply. It's like getting a magnifying glass on things and really seeing. And because it's in the sign of, we've just got it moved into Aquarius there, 27 degrees, we can see, again, this moves into the collective and the hopes and dreams of humanity. And Pluto is in Capricorn, is to do with the government and our work, and in Capricorn it's about ruler is Saturn of Capricorn, and we know that the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus here, and Uranus is down here. The ruler is down here in Taurus, which is again to do with our inner needs. We've also got Venus conjunct Mars, and that's dead on at that point, quite beautiful. Venus and Mars. The last time that Mars moved over Pluto was in the beginning of lockdowns in 2020. That would have been 2 years ago. I'm coming up in March 2020, and then we went into lockdowns and such like. So that Venus conjunct Mars makes us very sensitive, but also because it's in Capricorn, it means that we're hiding it a bit. It can be where we're also easily offended. We like also be popular and full of energy, and confidence can border on selfishness. This is the Mars conjunct Venus, and it's also where there can be quick-tempered, but we don't stay angry for long, and we want harmony as well with that. So then Venus is sextile to Saturn. See some of those beautiful aspects. Venus is sextile to Saturn here. You see 16 degrees, and that's 17, that's 30 degrees apart, just about. We've got Mars trine Uranus, Mars up here trine to Uranus here, and Mars trine Uranus, they're separating though, and this is harmonious. It gives us individuality and means we can have unusual interests, and there can be two branches to this, where either people that engage in anarchist groups or extremist political movements, we can see that's been going on, and also where we use skills in research and engineering, construction, and other related fields. And this is an aspect is great for top athletes who need short and fast performances. So that's worth knowing too. Jupiter sextile Uranus. So Jupiter truth here, sextile to Uranus. Jupiter's in Pisces. And then we have Saturn square Uranus. That's separating at 6 degrees here. Saturn square to Uranus. You can see that's 17, so 6 degrees. So we will have one more hit of where these two are going to meet up. Saturn moves faster than Uranus. Uranus takes 84 years around the chart, and Saturn takes about 29.5 years. What will happen is that later this year, Saturn will go retrograde. So I think they meet at 18 degrees again, from what I recall. Both will be at 18 degrees. So Saturn square Uranus done. And then the other aspects there are the node square the sun and the node square the moon. The node square the moon, it's our desires of the moon, and its demands on emotional safety and affection are in opposition with that. So it can be a bit difficult, and it can make us hesitant, irritated, and dissatisfied. So look at that there. We have the node here, just here, square to the moon. You see that there. So there's some good stuff going on in this chart. The node is also trine to Mercury, and remember it's up there with Pluto. So this aspect gives a lot of intelligence and a lot of good orientation, life orientation. And we're searching in the background of our motives, and we can be very critically creative, and deal with our personality. And it's where we are open towards others, and we can accept criticism easily and do not avoid conflicts, which is pretty cool, I think. I like that. And then the node trine to Pluto is, last thing, node is trine to Pluto. You see that's 27 degrees and that's 26. That's a trine you can see in the middle there. It's busy in the middle there because I use a lot of planets. The node trine Pluto, the positive thing is that it gives people great and fascinating energy, and it leads us to a focal point collectively. Yeah? It's leading us to a focal point. Clearly something's coming, focal point. And the experiences of power and powerlessness and that we encounter will help with our own shadow work, and it helps us to overcome our life challenges and find our paths. That's what we're up to. So I'm going to leave it there for today. And if you want to book a session with me, then do. You can look in the comments below or the description video, and you'll see my link. Catch you later, and thanks for watching.